Welcome to Destination Marriage, a podcast about successfully navigating the winding roads of marriage. Whether you are looking to get married, you are engaged, newly married, or have been married for years, we want to share with you how we have successfully navigated those winding roads over the past 18 plus years.
Join us on this journey as we discuss real life experiences, both highs and lows, and what we have learned along the way. Happiness, grace, passion are some of the things we all strive for in marriage, and we invite you to take this journey with us. Welcome to Destination Marriage.
Welcome back to Destination Marriage. I'm Jackie Kuiper.
And I'm Tommy Kuiper, and this is episode number 2. What we are going to talk about today is why you should date your spouse and how important it is for a healthy marriage.
Absolutely. And it's it's funny. We've been married for a really long time. So I was trying to think back on, our first date. Do you remember what it felt like when we were first dating? Because that's a long time ago. I mean,
you're asking me to go back to 1994? All right, I can do that. So freshman year in high school?
Freshman year.
Because I met you on day one.
No driver's license.
That presented
probably
a challenge.
No job.
Definitely no job. So I was so nervous dating you back in 1993 because neither of us had really...
93? You said 94.
93, 94. The school year. Because either of us had really dated. We weren't really technically allowed to date, but as we started hanging out...
We were very young.
We were very young. Remember, we were holding hands, and it was very exciting. But we did ice skating. We did a lot of Blockbuster nights once we did have a license, right? Limited funds, and you go and search where it evolved from VHS to DVD. So maybe some of our listeners don't even know what a Blockbuster is, but
we would go to Blockbuster and search for a movie. I think your mom would drive us
a lot of times.
In the minivan.
Oh yeah,
that was
fun.
That was nice.
Indeed,
that was exciting.
But as it evolved through high school, it was exciting. I was always excited to pick you up, to see you, long before cell phones. So there was either get through on the phone or go to your house. There was no texting. There was no
FaceTime.
Yeah, and there certainly weren't any dating
social
apps.
Media.
But I was learning a lot. Let's be honest, I wasn't really taught how to date, and nobody, there wasn't any. I didn't have any older siblings that gave me tips or tricks or anything along those lines, and my friends were all idiots like I was. So
we were all kind of at the same starting point on the board game of dating.
But dating is fun. We haven't. Neither of us have been single for the past 20 plus years. So the reality is, it's a different world out there. But as a spouse, as a husband and wife, in any stage of your marriage, whether you're newlyweds or have a new baby or have multiple babies or you're empty nesters, it's crucial. I think it's an absolutely crucial part of maintaining a healthy relationship. And that's what we want to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing. I remember just first dates, even though it was I'm going to come over to your house and have dinner with your family, or we're going to rent a movie, we're going to go to Regal Cinemas and watch a movie. Your mom's going to drop us off and pick us up. To me, it was still really exciting. I would get butterflies. I was nervous. It was a huge deal. I remember that feeling of being overly excited and, just that anticipation of spending time with you. What am I going to wear? And just having that one-on-one time. And sometimes it was a group date too, but, having that one-on-one time. And I think it's important to continue that level of excitement, even though, yes, we've been married for a long time, we've been together for a long time. It's fun to look back on where it started and just how it's evolved over the years from, those simple nights of Blockbuster. And I guess now it's like a Netflix and chill thing, but before the Blockbuster and a bag of popcorn, to what it's evolved to now. It's still important.
But I think the principle is the same. And if you can maintain that level of excitement, and whether it's the husband or the wife leading the charge with the date, there is that kind of sense of excitement still. You want to have that, if you've got it planned for a Friday night, it's something to really look forward to. That's our time together. It's carved out. It's intentional, and it's really it makes it a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
some of our more memorable, nights out have been either impromptu or planned dates that
Yeah.
end up just being great times together and wonderful times to really connect and disconnect from the world
Right.
and focus on just me and you.
I agree. 100%. Just being silly together.
And I think the reason when we were talking about doing this episode is like, well, why do we want to do that? And I think the truth is life changes, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really hard a lot of times to maintain that level of intimacy with your partner as jobs, kids, um, parents getting older, all those things
Mm-hmm.
um, hit everyone in certain periods of their time. Or
Yeah.
you have a new baby and it just your life is completely changed.
Right.
Or you get a new job, or any number of situations can happen. But I just so as we were talking
Yeah.
about it, we really wanted to look at these types of dates that we've gone on
Mm-hmm.
and how it's what we've done. So we want to kind of talk about, hey, here's some great ideas. Here's what we've
Right.
done. We'd love to get feedback from our listeners on ideas that they've had or dates that they've had, or even attempted dates that have gone wrong with their spouse, because those are really memorable too. We've never had those. Every date's been
No,
perfect.
they're all perfect.
So,
All of
so
them.
what are your thoughts on kind of the how do you focus on it from your perspective as a mom,
Mm-hmm.
as a business owner?
I crave it. I need, and I know they're not everyone or not every woman, because I'm obviously speaking from a female perspective. Not every woman probably shares my thought process on this, but for me personally, as a business owner, as a mom, and we were also very young parents. We didn't have those 5+ years of just it being the two of us, where we could just date each other and
Yeah.
just get to know each other and have fun and find ourselves, or whatever that is. We were parents very early on, so for me, I crave that time. My love language is quality time. It's the very first one. It's not the only one, but it's the first one, and I crave that time with you. I like the excitement of if you plan a special night, or we plan it together, getting ready together, just the anticipation, especially if it's something that we know like ahead of time, and we both have very busy schedules. We have stressful jobs. And because I do work from home, I don't really escape my job. And I don't escape basically any of those responsibilities, because I'm constantly switching from mom mode to business owner and back and forth like a ping pong. So for me to be able to check out and just check into you, and we just have a good time together, I look forward to it. I need it. It almost helps me to kind of recharge my batteries and kind of regroup, and also mentally and emotionally prepare for the following week. But also reconnect with you, because we do have demanding jobs during the week. Sometimes we may not be as in tune to one another, and I think it's important, especially if you've been together for a long time, to check out and just focus on one another. It's a need for me though, and it may not be for everyone else, but it is a need for me, and I think every relationship can only benefit from it. There's no negative that really
Sure.
can come from it.
Right. Absolutely. So it's interesting. I think we'll do another episode when we talk about work schedules and kind of differences between husbands and wives and needs, because we battled with that uh, when I traveled a lot with work.
Mm,
The last thing I wanted to
yeah.
do if I came home after being gone all week is to immediately leave the house again. I wanted to just
Yeah,
come
that
in.
was the time it was
Whereas it's
challenging for date
yeah,
nights.
and then
It was still a need for me.
versus you still were working from home all week, busting your butt.
Hmm.
You wanted to escape. You wanted to get out of the house, and we were at a crossroads when we met together on a Friday afternoon. So
Yeah.
um, we still haven't quite figured that one out, but we're working towards it, like anything. But another topic for another day.
Yeah.
But so for today, I think sometimes when you're part of our goal is to talk about some practical things like, all right, that's great, we've established that
Hmm.
dating your spouse is important. It's important for your intimacy, it's important for your friendship, it's important for the kids to see that their parents love them.
I
How do
think the
you
boys recognize that though.
absolutely
I think they
absolutely
do recognize that we carve out time for each other, to the point where with our oldest, we see that he has kind of followed that, as far as he's very much a relationship person.
right,
He values
he values it
that
absolutely.
time. He's a great.
It's a great
He's a
boyfriend.
great boyfriend because
So
he
young
sees how
ladies
we've.
from
Yeah, right.
19 to 21 years old in the Hampton Roads area,
Yeah,
give us a call.
he's a great boyfriend because he's very attentive. But for us, I think that one of the things that may be a challenge for other couples right now, especially if they're just starting to have kids, um, how do you carve out time? And we can touch on the travel thing later because that's not something that actually was a challenge for us from day one because
Hmm.
you didn't travel at that time.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, we first started out. We were young parents and we didn't have the budget that we do now to maybe do some more creative things or even get away for a longer weekend. Um, how what would we recommend to other couples as far as carving out that time and
Yeah.
making it a priority?
I think, yeah. So if we take a step back, I think that's the first step
Hmm.
is both. I think you really need to get on the same page as far as it being intentional and agree that it's important with your spouse. And if not,
Well, what if you're married to somebody who doesn't see value in dating?
well, okay, that's fair, right? But I mean, if that's a different issue, so we can let's go down that path. But I think first though,
But it's a real one.
absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, for the purposes here,
Hmm.
first, make it intentional. Like both the husband and wife get on the same page and say, "Look, we need to do this. Our lives have been chaotic. Here's the value in it. Let's just carve out a time, put it on our calendars.
Yeah.
Get on the same page." All right. And secondly, if you have the situation where whether it's the husband or the wife that doesn't want to do that, there's probably some other significant issues going on. So I still think you have to be intentional. So if you're asking me from my perspective, if the wife is for whatever reason doesn't want to go on dates,
Yeah.
there's got to be a core reason. There's something behind that. If assuming that
Well,
the
because
marriage
we're assuming
is
all of our listeners are
right,
both on the same page and husband and wife both want to date. And let's be real, we both know other couples, okay, where maybe one has that need and the other doesn't. So obviously we are on the same page. We both
mm-hmm.
enjoy dating each other. But if you had a male friend who said, "Look, I really want to date my wife. She's not interested in having quality time. She just wants to be home. She doesn't want to leave the kids." What would you say?
Yeah, I think you got to find out. What would I say? I'd say,
Yeah.
well, why do you think it is, and really dig into it, right, and go a couple levels deep. If he knows right off the bat, well, she doesn't want to leave the kids. She won't leave the kids with a babysitter.
Hmm.
Um, you know, that's a different dynamic. That's something that I think on that case, the husband needs to be proactive and plan something that is secure in her mind, but kind of force the issue. Because that assumes in that scenario, okay, that it's a healthy relationship, right?
Hmm.
We're assuming for the sake of today that these are all healthy relationships. There's just real life challenges in front of them,
Yeah.
right? That's a series of podcasts on it if we were to talk about
Well, I
related.
just don't want to assume that everyone is married to
Right. A
somebody
lot
who
of times I don't
sees
think it's on
their same point
purpose.
of view as far as wanting to date. And so if we can add any like additional thing,
Yeah.
because we both have had friends, male and female,
Hmm.
that their spouse wasn't interested in having that quality time.
A lot
To
of
you and I,
times,
it's foreign, but for them, that's their norm. And one may be missing out. They're both missing out really on having that time. So
yeah.
if they came to you and said, "Hey," obviously there's some of our listeners that are thinking, well, my spouse doesn't want to date me, or maybe that they don't want to
I
carve that
could,
time
I
out.
know, and I think a lot of times it just is a slow evolution to that.
Hmm.
Not a hard. I just don't want to date. I don't like that person anymore. I don't want
Well,
to date.
maybe they just feel it's too much work, right?
So in that case, that's what I want to get to the bottom of is like, hey, these are healthy-ish relationships. There's
Hmm.
just real life roadblocks or challenges and things in the way that have caused them to, just like it's just easier to stay home and not even worry about it.
Yeah.
Right. So if that in that case, whoever is the person that wants to stay home, um, make it a priority yourself and plan everything and make it special. So if it's the husband, from this perspective, I would say you make the reservations, you get the babysitter that the wife is comfortable with, and you buy a dress or buy whatever event you're going to or
Man,
place you're
you're
going
setting that
to.
bar high. You're
You
buying
set the bar
outfits.
high. My point is, you plan everything to a T,
Yeah.
and that way there's absolutely um, no rationale or no reason for that person, the other
Mm.
spouse, to not accept it, right?
Right.
Maybe it's something very specific to what that spouse does enjoy, right? You can't tell me they don't enjoy anything. So if
Hmm.
there's some type of hobby or thing that that spouse does enjoy, you know what? Focus on that.
Right.
Do that. Spend that time with that person. Get the ball rolling, basically, and then I think
Hmm.
you'll see those things kind of build momentum and get that
Yeah.
excitement back.
And both, it's not only on the husband, I think both can take the initiative with planning.
Sure.
So, because it may be the husband that's not really interested, and he may, it may be where the wife doesn't work. Obviously you and I both work, but maybe the wife is a stay at home mom. She wants to get out, she wants to date. He's been working long hours, he's exhausted, and he just wants to be home. He just wants to relax at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that sense, it may really be where the ball's in her court and she needs to be the person to take the initiative in planning.
So what would that look
You know,
like?
well, I think obviously, if they have children, and they may not, we know couples they don't have kids, but if they have kids, she would be the person to then take care of the, you know, babysitter or have a family member, mom-in-law come over, watch the kids. And maybe I think in that sense, it might even be better to do like a night away, where it's not just getting dressed up, going out, coming back to screaming kids, but maybe it's a night away where it's you plan like a really nice dinner and you can stay overnight and relax so he can still get that rest and relaxation. You both can have that romantic time, but it can go both ways. Obviously you and I both work, so it's different. We both have demanding jobs, but
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of moms that are stay-at-home moms that have that very same need. And yeah, their husband is working a tremendous amount of hours and they're exhausted and they don't want to leave home. Both are understandable, but I think both can take the initiative with planning.
I agree, 100%.
And it can be creative. I mean, it can be a number of different things. What do you think? Just kind of some of over the years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's switch
Obviously, we
gears.
talked
Yeah.
about blockbuster dates, but what have been some of our best dates? And it doesn't have. I mean, it can be things that we do that were over the top, but like just best dates off the top of your head that we've done over the years.
Yeah, and I think that what our goal here is to kind of talk maybe through some of those dates that span the dollar and time commitment spectrum, right? So some like you said over the top, but over the top could be free or it could be really expensive, right? So
I was thinking the expensive was over
I know this. What I mean is, as we started out, it was just time together was great, right?
Mhm.
So going to the beach with your towel and some sunblock for us living in Virginia Beach area, that's a pretty cool date, right? And we've gone to the beach, just me and you. It's harder because the kids, but we go down to the beach, walk on the beach, a picnic. We had a fantastic time this end of or in the fall when we rented some bikes for down at the beach off season,
Mhm.
had a picnic, and just had a wonderful time right down at the beach.
Oh yeah, no, that was a really good time.
We did, normally we go away for our anniversary. We were very intentional about that. But a couple years ago, we just due to schedules, we weren't able to go away, and we had a picnic at the gardens, botanical gardens. Low
Yeah.
cost, very memorable, great pictures, just a wonderful time together. Um, we
Spa dates, those have been
spa dates
fun.
are
We did
fun.
that at a salt cave. We did massages. I think the bikes at the beach were a blast. We had like wine and cheese, a whole charcuterie. Like it was a fun day. We've done a lot of creative things. I feel like we've tried to change it up. We don't try to do the same thing. A dinner every single time. A dinner's nice, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dinner. Um,
And sometimes what I'll do is it will seemingly be kind of off the cuff or spontaneous, but I've maybe thought about it for a couple of days. And, I'll come home and be like, hey, let's go up to, whatever restaurant and sit at the bar and have a couple of drinks, which turns into a full night.
mhm.
Right. And so it's
Oh,
some
last weekend that was
spontaneity.
fun.
Yeah.
Wait, was it last
It
weekend?
was a few weeks ago, but
2 weekends.
two drinks turned into 4 hours at the restaurant. And
Well, we had no kids, so
yeah,
one was working, the other was at a sleepover, and we figured, well, let's get out of the house. So we went to a local brewery, and they have a bunch of food trucks, and they also have wine because I'm not a huge beer drinker. And we had some Greek food, we had some drinks, and it was a fun night. It was just totally random. We had a great time being silly. really being silly and stupid. I mean, we just laughed the whole time. And it was completely spontaneous. We didn't really plan that out, you know,
Yeah.
didn't have kids. We just wanted to spend time together.
You're not big into sports. I am, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not a real. I'm not obsessed with going to games. Like it's not something that
I mean, I'll
I
go to a
don't
game.
spend.
I like
But sporting events are fun,
I think they're fun.
especially if it's the type of event like a baseball games
We need to do
is
that.
actually a baseball game's a really great date because it's a slower pace. You can talk. You can spend time with your spouse. Not like basketball or football where it's just
We just don't live anywhere where we have a major
we don't.
league baseball
We
team.
sure don't.
So
But
that
even
would be more of a weekend situation.
but just the ambiance of a baseball game, grabbing $12 beers and just enjoying each other's couple, enjoying each
Yeah.
other's company is not loud. It's not overbearing like a football game where you're standing up the whole time.
Yeah.
But those are just some examples. I think that if you plan it well, if it is more of a complicated date as a man, I think it's important to plan those events really meticulously. So if it is a tight window of time and you've carved out that time and you've had to put it on your schedule and everybody's anticipating, like
Mm-hmm.
don't not have a plan come 6 o'clock on Friday night and your wife is expecting you to have, made dinner plans and
Oh,
she's getting
yeah.
dressed
I
up
mean,
and you're
no,
like,
that's
hey, where do you want to go? I mean,
right.
sometimes that's great, but
We were in a position where we could be spontaneous at
that
night.
time, right.
Yeah.
So I think
And
it's
it worked out.
important to kind of balance the two
Yeah.
because date nights don't work well when if the anticipation from one spouse was X and you get there and it's
Mhm.
Y because
Yeah.
nobody put any effort into making a reservation or you're driving around trying to figure out where you want to do. Like that gets frustrating, especially on
Yeah.
limited time. So as best as you can plan, absolutely.
We've done workout dates too, where it hasn't really been an evening date where we've gone like for a workout and then we go for a brunch or we'll go
Yeah,
whatever sushi or we went was like last year we went and had cryotherapy afterwards.
yeah, because I hurt my shoulder. Um, I think that's a fantastic if your schedules permit, and we have the stress of our jobs, but also we have flexibility. So when I was traveling a lot of times if I
Mm-hmm.
was home doing an office day on Friday, we'd peace out for a couple hours, go to the gym, and then grab sushi afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just a nice time to spend with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when the kids were at school, so it was easy and
Yeah.
fun and memorable. We talk about our sushi dates. Remember all of our sushi dates?
Yeah. I think it's good to be creative around, date nights or date days or just whatever it looks like, carving that time out. I know everyone has different schedules. Some of our friends have very demanding schedules where maybe they don't work from home, they're not in sales, Monday through Friday. They are in an office or in a hospital, you name it, they're there all day long. And so that's just not an option. But I would just say do something creative outside of a dinner. Try something different together.
So let me ask you,
Hmm.
what are non-starters? What are
What do you
no-go
mean?
zones with respect to date night as a wife?
Non-starters? Oh, well, I mean, I can't speak for every woman out there. Some women are
Understood.
like,
Yeah.
uh, you know, take me for a burger and fries. And actually, I'm down for that sometimes. But no, that sounds good. Um, non-starters, honestly, what I don't think is a good date night is a movie. I don't think going to the movies is a good date night. I mean, it's not a, it's a great thing to do when it's raining and it's disgusting outside and you want to go take your kids or there's nothing else to do and you want to be in a sweatshirt and leggings, go to the movie theater. But for a date, I like to connect with you, and it's really hard to do that if we're in the movies.
Yeah, movies are tough.
Yeah, I don't. That's not something that I would gravitate towards. Um,
Our local movie theater has full menu of food and drinks, so it's a little
yeah,
different
but I'm still
dynamic.
not talking to you
It
in the
isn't, no, but
movie.
when we tend to do that, we're doing it with the family. A movie
Yeah,
that we all want to see, or
right.
over
It ends up
holidays,
being a
and
family thing
yeah.
all the time. Um, as far as like non-starters though, okay, so I would say that's one. Um, the other non-starter would probably be, gosh, that's tough. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty open and flexible as far
Yeah.
as like new things to try.
New, I think
Unless it's
new is important.
Yeah, I hate doing the same thing over and over again. Like that's probably a non-starter. I would say, yeah,
Too
doing the
much
same
repetitive
thing,
stuff. Yeah.
the same restaurant, the same type of meal. I get bored easily.
Hmm.
I do. I get bored easily. So
But
like I like to
if
just
both husband and wife, both spouses are absolutely creatures of habit like that, it's better to do that than to not do
oh
anything,
yeah,
right?
but
But
you're
I agree
asking
with
me
you.
like
Yeah,
what's a
I would agree.
non-starter for me?
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again, like I would be bored out of my mind. I like to try new things together,
Yeah,
you
same
know.
here.
And you've actually opened up my eyes to new foods. Like there are things that I've tried with you that I have would never try before that now I love, you know. But that's part of the experience. I remember going on a date when I tried, you know, caviar for the first time, or you know, when I've had certain things for the first time, and we've done it together, we've tried it together, or you've opened my eyes to certain things, like, oh, you know, that's an experience.
Yeah.
I like not only have a great date, but having an experience together, that's more memorable to me. But yeah, movies are probably a non-starter. I wouldn't want to do that. Um,
I'd say just as a general non-starter, we kind of hit on it a few minutes ago, but
hmm.
don't don't not have some version of a plan like when you head out the door. You know, I think that we have had times
Yeah, we
where
have had
we've
few.
been on the road and it kind of can turn into an argument when you're just like, well, where are we going? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do
True.
you want to
Yeah,
go? And
I can get
it just, yeah,
irritating,
I guess it kind of escalates and then,
especially if you only have a small window of time, you know,
yeah.
to get out. Yeah, that can be irritating.
I'd say, you know, non-starters could also be, whether it's the wife or the husband, is planning a date night that only meets your needs selfishly. So it's
Hmm.
like if I have some hobby that I like, oh, I thought you'd want to come to the, you know, whatever X is and
Yeah.
hang out with me and the boys.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you know, or if you vice versa, oh, well, I like doing this with my girlfriend, so I figured I'll just
Mm.
do it with you instead. And you know, maybe that's
I didn't
not the
even think about
best
that,
time
but
to,
yeah.
you know, versus what we talked about earlier, where it could
Hmm.
be your benefit is if that spouse is, you know, struggling to want to get go on a date at all. If you pursue something and set up
Hmm.
something that's to their liking, that's one of their hobbies, and
Yeah.
sacrifice, even if it's something you have to kind of, you know, hold your nose to do because it just bores you to tears, it's more important to spend that time with your spouse, something that they enjoy, to kind of light that fire. And I think the benefits will far outweigh
Right.
the 2 hours you spend doing something that's not exciting for you.
Yeah, but if you're the spouse who, like you said, like if, oh, you know, come meet or you're gonna come hang out with me and the guys to watch a football game every single weekend and that counts as your date,
You'll be watching
that's,
football alone
yeah, that's not gonna get you
eventually.
very far. And the same if you're the guy who's driving your spouse around her girlfriend so they can get, you know, they can get trashed every weekend and you're basically just, you know, their Uber. That doesn't count as a date either. You know, you need to really
That's brownie points though, if you're doing that for your
every
wife.
now and then, yeah, but every weekend, if it's all about you and your girlfriends or you and your guy friends and you're not really plugging into one another, you need, that you need to take a step back and reevaluate. Um, but yeah, I think it's really fun just to be creative around it. I mean, I'm always open to like trying something new for a new date. You know, I think that one of the side note, one of the things that we had talked about, our nephew got married last summer, and I had come across an article and it talked about like neat, you know, gift ideas
Yeah, this is
for
really fun.
neat gift ideas for new, you know, newlyweds or whatever, newly married couples. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the coolest idea. I wish someone had done it for us. And basically, what it was, they had given someone a wallet and they filled it with gift cards for dates throughout the year. It was 12 gift cards. So every month they would go on a new date. So it'd be a restaurant or a spa or movies. And it encouraged them to basically plug into one another every single month of that first year of marriage. And I thought, wow, what an interesting gift, an encouraging gift, and a gift that's really instructional because it's telling them you need to stop and plug into one another. I wish someone had done that for us.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to, they can.
We're still open 18 years later.
Our anniversary is in August. We're putting feelers out.
But we were talking about that, and I think that actually could apply as a gift for a variety of life changing type of events, right? So
New
a new
baby.
baby is, I see it more as a newlyweds, there's so much
Mm.
excitement. You know, you're you're so into each other. There's just all that
Hmm.
passion,
Yeah.
and you know, do you as much do you really need the direction to go dating? But I think your point is well made. Like establish that as a habit between a
Yeah.
husband and wife. But there's a real life challenge after a new baby.
Hmm.
Um,
That's,
you
I
know,
would say, yeah, the
right? And
hardest.
because you've got physical challenges, you have a new life in the
Hmm.
house. The mom, mostly the mom is just tired beyond belief.
Hmm.
Certainly the dads are as well, but let's be real, like the moms are the one that are going to bear the brunt of that time
Not, you're not
spent with the
feeling, yeah, you're not
yeah
feeling your sexiest,
yeah. There's
or you're not as energetic as you used to be. You're tired.
you're
Yeah.
you're tired, and your time is now split amongst
Hmm.
multiple humans. Um, that I see, as a gift, or even as the spouse,
Hmm.
said, hey, a gift to the wife, or as the a gift to somebody else that just had a baby.
Hmm.
Diapers are great. A new crib, obviously important, but man, I think that would be wonderful, and it would kind of
Yeah.
force the issue, right? Because I think there are a lot of times where the new mom, really has a hard time leaving the baby.
Yeah.
Whether it's with the family or anyone,
Hmm.
it's a real issue, real
Right.
concern, and I completely respect that.
Hmm.
However, if you've established that dating is important and you've got these framework and like all these gift cards with like hell even reservations made for
Yeah.
certain
I mean,
nights,
yeah, you can take it to a whole other level
right?
if you're in a position to do so.
That'd be
And
awesome.
on another note, I mean, there are couples that through over the years go through different struggles
Hmm.
in their marriage, and I think that this would also be a really great gift as an encouragement to a couple that may be experiencing the struggle, to support their marriage and say that we're supporting you and we want you to carve out this time. It can be a special date, it can be a getaway for them to, plug into one another. So it can be a number of different things, but I would encourage, if anybody's in a position to do that and they can bless someone in that way, I think it's a great idea. And I wish I had thought of it
I
before.
know,
I
right?
didn't see it till after.
All
I'm
the
like, oh,
weddings we've been
I
to
know,
over
I'm
the
like,
last few
oh
years.
man, I just saw that. It
Yeah.
was after their wedding, but I think it's a great idea. And, if anyone's has an upcoming wedding, and especially if it's a close family member, someone they really want to bless immensely, I think it's a great idea. Um,
And and we hadn't really talked about this, but I just mentioned it. It could be something that if there's some sort of dynamic in the home where it's important to kind of set a new standard within the house because of challenges or issues that are between the husband and wife.
mhm.
I think that's a fantastic means of kind of setting the bar and setting the stage for what to show your intentionality
Mhm.
of improving the marriage. If you're the spouse that has done something stupid or
Mhm.
wrong, or just
Or it could just be
not even,
drifted
drifting,
apart,
or jobs are
like you
taking up so
mentioned with
much time. It's
jobs.
like, what,
Hmm.
hey, I just mapped out the next 6 months worth of dates.
Yeah.
you know not out of like a ridiculous planner type
No.
of, but more like, hey, this is important to me, this is important to our
Right.
marriage, and here's what we're doing over the next 6 months, and here's the dates, and they're already planned. I think that'd be would probably go a long way
I think
in
so.
kind of improving the marriage.
Hmm.
That's our goal, right? It's like we're trying to give ideas and some things that
Yeah.
we've
Anything
done,
that we
and
can do, anything we can share. As far, obviously we've been married for a long time. It's not We're not newly married. We've been married for a long time, and then prior to that, we dated for a long time. So we've had experiences over the years that maybe can be beneficial to any one of you as far as where you are in your marriage, whether it's newly married 5 years in, just had a baby, new jobs. Trust me, we have experienced a lot over the years. So if we can be a help in any way, we absolutely will share our experiences, and only experiences things that we've overcome. Um,
so
this is something that,
I wanted to ask you,
yeah.
from your perspective, the I know you mentioned earlier, like, that you crave the time in that, but what do you think it's done for our marriage,
Hmm.
because we have been very, very intentional and specific, and you know, we go on a lot of dates together, and we spend a ton of
Yeah.
time together, and we enjoy each other's company.
Mhm.
A lot of it is the dating, specifically around dating. So, what do you think that's done for our marriage?
I think it's done a number of things, not only for our marriage, but for our home. So for our home first, I will say I think that it has really set an example in the tone for our children that our marriage comes first.
Mhm.
I know not everyone agrees with that. Sometimes for them, maybe the children comes first, the children come first, but realistically, kids are going to leave. They're going to start their own lives. You're still going to be a part of their life, but they're not going to be in the home anymore. And it needs to be, you know, your relationship needs to be at a point where when the kids leave, that you're still thriving with one another, you're enjoying each other, you crave time with each other. I think for us, it's actually helped us to communicate better because that way, when we're plugging in on a date, no one else is around. Work is not around because my work is from home.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are not around. There's no distractions. It's just us. So I think that it's created memories. It's created conversation, excellent conversation. And I think it's been great also for intimacy. Like it's part of the date, feeling romantic or that you went over the top for me and you made me feel special. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's obviously going to lead to other things.
That's
It's
right.
a win-win.
Indeed. It's a win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win.
That's right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's, I need to hear that too, as your spouse and as your husband. I want to know, my efforts, like how they make you feel. It's important. So thank you for that. All right. So we have a challenge for our listeners.
Yeah.
We'd love to get feedback from you. If you have any fantastic date ideas, whether you've done them yourselves or you just think would be a good idea, if you want to send them to us,
yes,
we will perform those dates and go on those dates.
Well, we're going to pick the most
We're going to pick the
interesting
ones.
ones.
Yeah,
not
we're
all
not.
of them.
We're not saying we're just going to pull one out of the hat and commit to that. But if there's some cool dates and you want to know, do you think this would work, or is it silly, or you've done it yourself?
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from
about
you.
It.
So please reach out at feedback@destinationmarriagepodcast.com. And like I said, we'll talk about it on another episode, and kind of follow back up with everyone to share our thoughts on that. And we'd also, whether it's that challenge or just feedback in general, if you had questions about scenarios or situations that have maybe hindered your marriage and you wanted some questions or you wanted to get some feedback about something, our perspective on that, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. We know how important it is. We believe it's very, very important. So we want to, as best we can, share some of those ideas, and I hope we've done that today.
Feel free to visit us at destinationmarriagepodcast.com as well. You can also link up to our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter. So there's plenty of options to reach out to us. We are really excited to hear from you all and your feedback and share with you again. We're going to continue to put out some more really great content and share with you our perspective, our experiences, and hopefully this will be helpful to any number of you. But we appreciate your time. Thanks for following us.
Absolutely. And so stay tuned for next week. We're going to do a shorter podcast. We're going to talk something very, very specific. We're going to talk about working out with your spouse and the value in doing that and what that brings to what that can bring to a marriage, right? And so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it, I think, but I think we've got some really interesting perspective. We're really excited about it because
it's something that's important to us.
Yeah, and I don't think enough couples do it. I think that it's really, we talked about that as a date night option, but it could be a date afternoon option. But so we'll be back next week shortly with another hopefully fantastic topic and podcast. And like Jackie said, we're really excited to join you guys in this journey as the name of the podcast shows. This is a destination. We're trying to get to ultimately to have a wonderful lifelong marriage together, and hopefully we can
hopefully reach that level of success together. So thank you again. We will see you, or you will hear us next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if so, please continue to listen on Podbean, iTunes, or Spotify, and hit subscribe. Also, visit us at destinationmarriagepodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram at destination_marriage, and be sure to tune in to our next episode.